Welcome to the Friends of Wilmington Memorial Library. Our guests are Tina Stewart, the Library Director, and Karen Campbell, Chairman of the Friends of the Library. Tina, would you like to start by telling us some of the history of how the Friends of the Library began?
Sure. The library completed a long-range plan, a 5-year long-range plan in October of 1995. And in this plan, we articulated some really specific goals and objectives to improve the library. One of the goals was to organize a Friends of the Library. The trustees and the director really felt that this was one way that library service can really be improved. There are, of the 350 public libraries in Massachusetts, there's only about 13 that operate without the benefits that a Friends group can provide. So in February of this past year, the trustees invited a liaison from the Board of Library Commissioners to come to one of their board meetings and to give us some tips on how we can get started. And after that meeting, we just sat down and kind of brainstormed and came up with some names of our regular library users, and some of these belong to a book discussion group at the library called Bookends, who are really love books and come and discuss books monthly. And they were amongst the people on that list, and we had a few other names and asked if they could come and talk to us to see if there was enough interest in the community to move forward with organizing a Friends. And since that first meeting, we really have moved forward quite quickly. And there was a lot of really enthusiasm and energy and excitement about doing this. So that's how it really got started.
Since Karen is the chairman of the Friends, I assume that you really got yourself organized. Karen, how did that work out?
One of the first things that we did was we called the Massachusetts Friends of the Library, which is an organization whose main purpose is to help communities develop their own Friends of the Library groups. I spoke with the president of that organization, and through a series of meetings and roundtable discussions with other Friends groups from other towns, Lexington and Waltham are two examples that have very big, successful Friends groups. We got a lot of ideas and a lot of knowledge as to how to run a Friends group and how a group might work. From there, I brought it back to our group in Wilmington, and we formed a group of people that compose a steering committee that has really moved us forward. We have actually started gaining a membership, and we have promoted a lot of the programs this summer with the library. So we're actually in action.
Well, you had mentioned to us earlier that fun was the thing that you wanted to emphasize. Perhaps you could explain what would be going on, what would the Friends be involved with?
We have a number of things. How we're operating is by several committees that people can join and be active on. We have a publicity committee, a hospitality committee, a fundraising and program committee, and a membership committee. And all of these committees have already been very active in helping the library and helping the Friends to gain some momentum. People can put their name on a list to do whatever is necessary, and those people are going to be get calls throughout the year from different committee chairmen to help in many different ways, whether put in 2 hours at the book sale or bake some cookies for a party for the children at the library, or sit at a table to try to gain new members. We had a table at the 4th of July celebration, for example, where we gave away free books in order to get people attracted to our table just to look at our membership brochure.
You mentioned fundraisers, Karen. What types of fundraisers do you organize and run?
Well, one of the most popular is a book sale. I think with the Friends of the Library group, we're going to key in on people's interest in the library and books. And so a book sale is a really popular way to raise funds, and we're looking at having our first one during the next year's July 4th celebration, so that we can kind of key in with Wilmington's active 4th of July activities. We're also talking about possibly having a mystery dinner in which members would be invited to the library. We would serve dinner, and some local dignitary would be killed, And
Oh, gee.
through a series of clues that would be provided through the evening, people would have to try to figure out the mystery and how it was done. And that's been very successful in other Friends groups because that ties into reading once again. And we'll have not a lot of fundraisers, but hopefully the ones that we do will be fun and enjoyable for the members.
Where would you like to see these resources go, Tina?
Well, I did develop a wish list, which I've shared with the Friends, and there's a lot of things that they can do. And one of the things that they've done already for the library, as I said, they got off the ground very quickly. They were a very energetic, enthusiastic group of residents. And they really helped us with our Celebrate the Library event that was on the town common on June 19th. And so with the resources that to that point they had already raised through membership dues, they were able to pay for the Oz costumes. If you remember, we had Dorothy and the Cowardly Lion, and to rent those, the Friends paid for that. They also provided a refreshment table with Dunkin' Donuts and some Kool-Aid, and they had some prizes, which we had a raffle and a drawing, and that was there was a beach towel and some tickets to the rides at the carnival, so the Friends were able to get those. And their volunteer help that day was just invaluable. They were there at face painting table, they were there at, just to help us out and setting up. That kind of volunteer help really makes an event like that possible.
The funds that they get, though, would they be buying books for the library and magazines and newspapers?
The town has done a great job of supplying us with an adequate budget to do that kind of thing. Of course, any resource we can expand more on, and it's always nice to have more books in a larger collection, and that's a possibility. But I really look at the Friends as enhancing the service, because like I said, the town does a really good job of funding the public library in town. And the Friends can do the extras. And we're, like, for example, we don't have a circulating art collection. That is a resource that is in some libraries. We could expand our collection in different areas now, I think, with the Friends group. We do have museum passes, but with the Friends we can perhaps add another science museum pass or another pass to another local museum. I mean, we can just go beyond what we have, and that's, I think, the main value of the Friends as enhancing services. We'd like to do, the programming at the library is another area that I think the Friends can really get involved in. The children's programs this past summer have been really, I think, a lot of fun. And again, I think the Friends really made the difference. They provided refreshments at a lot of the programs. The last program, for example, was our birthday celebration, because the theme throughout the summer has been celebrate. And so, of course, we had a birthday celebration, and they provided the cake for the birthday celebration, as well as help. They're always there to help out. If you need another helping hand pouring with the punch, they would be there. And we have, as Karen said, a hospitality committee, and they really, I think, probably worked very hard with our children's staff this summer in providing cookies for the Christmas in July celebration. Christmas cookies were baked by the Friends. And it just adds that special quality. It makes a program so much better with that special touch that a Friends could bring to it.
Well, I love the idea that you had the American Girl Party. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
That was really nice. Kathy LeDuc is one of the Friends, and she was, in fact, she was involved in that party. She brought a delightful, she set the tables and the balloons, and she had cookies, which ended up being prizes for some of the girls. And what they did, the American girls, they have dolls, and some of the girls came dressed as their doll, and they all brought their special doll. And the library has the American Girl series, which are books about girls growing up in different periods of history. And there are also books with crafts and cookbooks. And Karen, in fact, made some bars, cinnamon bars that were actually a recipe was a colonial, from one of the colonial period. So we try to make it authentic too, with some of the with recipes, and that was really a lot of fun. We had quite a lot of girls there. I think about 37 girls came to that party.
Excellent.
Karen, how often does your group meet?
The members will meet annually to transact business. Our first annual meeting will be September 25th at 7 o'clock at the library. At that meeting, we'll elect our first group of officers to officially run the group. We'll very quickly, hopefully, take a look at the bylaws and pass on that, and then we'll close that part of the business part of the meeting and really have some fun. Kathy Leduc will once again, her committee will provide refreshments that we pride ourselves on at all of our meetings, and we'll look at a video of the June 19th celebration. We'll talk a little bit about an upcoming program that we're hoping to do in October that will involve the history of Wilmington. We're going to try to put this together because there's been a lot of interest lately with the local, the find of the historical items, and we'd like to have some people talk about different areas and different periods of time in Wilmington's history. So that program we're looking forward to providing in October. We'll be talking a lot about that, and we'll try to answer people's questions and develop people's interest in becoming members of the Friends. It's only if we have a large membership that we can do the most good, so we really want to interest people. We're doing very well. We have 46 members so far, which is fabulous for a group that's just started. We only had one public meeting so far, and in the summer it's very difficult, but with those people we've been able to accomplish a lot. We've given over $300 worth of prizes and refreshments and things to the library over the summer, and we have a membership goal of 150 people that we would, or members, that we would like to get by next May, which would be our anniversary of our very first public meeting. So, I hope I can encourage people to come down to the library. Membership applications are available at either circulation desk, and if anybody has any questions, they can call me or speak with Tina.
And you don't really have to have a lot of expertise in any area. I mean, you
Not
really
at all.
just need to have, someone that has an interest in the library and an interest in books.
That's right. We're trying to be very accommodating. If you don't have any time at all, then your monetary donation will be really put to good use. If you do have some time and you're not sure of what you want to do, I strongly suggest anybody check off the little box that says whatever is necessary. You never know what you might be asked to do, and everything that people have done so far, I've had wonderfully positive feedback that says they had a really fun time, whether it was getting a great table at the 4th of July hospital bed race, because that's where our table was, or whether it was serving punch and Dunkin' Munchkins at the June 19th celebration, or watching the kids do the sidewalk chalk day as one of the summer programs. So everything has really been a lot of fun, and we'd like to continue in that spirit. I think that's the most important thing.
It certainly sounds like you've had an active group of people, and it sounds like you've done quite a bit in a very short period of time. Involving money and raising money, is that in any way going to go towards the technology that's used at the library?
That's a really common area that Friends support the library, especially now that technology is moving so quickly and town budgets have a hard time meeting those demands. A lot of Friends groups supply extra computers or monitors or printers. And now with the internet, there's a lot of demands in that direction. And I think anything is a possibility at this time. It will, once again, it will depend how big our membership is and what people's interests are. The members will decide what they would like to give to the library, but we'll be working very closely with the library staff as well as the Board of Trustees to make sure that what we want to provide is useful to the library and that we're all working in a cohesive direction. I think it's time for the Wilmington Memorial Library to be a central part of our community and to be really active within the community. And we should make it the best library there is. The library is the one place that people of any age or interest or whatever can go to.
Enjoy, that's
and
true.
Enjoy.
Karen, is there a fee to be a member?
There are very reasonable fees. We ask for $5 for senior citizens or students, $10 for individuals, $25 for families, or $100 for an organization. And that would be an annual fee.
Well, that is reasonable. Tina, what else do you have on your wish list that you wish the Friends will help you with?
The technology, as Cheryl mentioned, is a sort of one of the areas that I think that it would be nice. We had some older PCs that were used in the library, and they became dinosaurs, and they really weren't meeting the needs of people who wanted to do resumes. So I think that, that's sort of a wish list item, is to provide a state-of-the-art PC so people who don't have one at home can come in to do a resume or do a book report. I think that is you see that more and more in public libraries. But then that is an extra. We have the PCs and terminals in our library are right now in order to access the collection or the internet. And I think this is a really appropriate area where the Friends can add another level of service to the library. So that's another thing. I think also, I like to think of the library as having an inviting atmosphere, and I think, again, this is an extra, but I think it's so important where Friends during the holidays can provide seasonal flowers or decorations, better signage, more comfortable chairs. Again, we really think that they can go forward in that way. I'd like to see more adult programming. We've done a really great job with children's programming, but as Karen mentioned, working with on this new program, we're really in the brainstorming stage, and I talked to Carolyn Harris already, and she seems very excited about doing a program on the history of Wilmington. But there are some programs where you need to pay for. If you wanted to have a concert or a lecture, or maybe an author come or someone do a demonstration on cooking, that would cost money. Mm-hmm. And this is, again, another area I think the Friends can really help us provide more services to the adult population in town. So I think that would be a lot of fun. I think I'd like to also just kind of distinguish the roles of the Friends, the trustees, and the director. The trustees set the policy for the library. The director carries it out, and the Friends support it. But those three groups, so to speak, have to really work closely together. And the Friends, and Karen and I, and the trustees have done that so far, and I think that's probably one of the reasons it's been such a success so soon, mm-hmm. because we have a really good communication. We are talking about what do you need. We met with Karen and the steering committee at the beginning of the summer with our children's staff to talk to them. This is what we need for the summer program, and what they could afford at that point, because they were new, and it really worked out well. So we have, the communication and the clarification of roles is really important right from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So we know that, as you know, Karen is a volunteer, and the staff are employees of the town. So you really have to make sure that the lines are clear.
Absolutely. You were mentioning the children's programs, and my children are older now, and they enjoyed the summer programs so much over the years, and I'm sure that the Friends will enhance those even more. Love that American Girl Party. That must have been adorable. What goes on during the school year for the students? Is there any programs for the preschoolers that you have during the school year itself?
Yeah, the preschool program, in fact, will be beginning soon. I don't have the exact date. The children's staff are working on the schedule right now, and we'll probably have that on the bulletin board at WCTV when that will begin. And that usually starts in either late September, early October, and goes all the way up through right before Christmas, when there'll usually be a little celebration. And that, again, will pick up after the break during the holiday. We'll pick up again in probably January for the second phase of the program. And that's ongoing pretty much. There's some breaks in between the year when one session ends and the other one starts. So the preschool population is growing, as you know, in Wilmington, and there's a very big demand for this service. And our children's librarian, Mrs. Rutnick, has added on extra weeks to the program so everyone could come. And this past summer, in fact, they had a new program in the evening, story time for families. Because working parents sometimes have a hard time getting to the library because they're at work with their children who may be in daycare. So that was very well received during the summer on Thursday evenings of story time for families, which was sort of a new service, a new program that we had.
Excellent. Karen at one point had mentioned the monthly meetings of adults reading a specific book. Yeah. Could you tell us just a little bit more about that?
Maybe Karen, in fact, is a member, so perhaps Karen can talk about it. It's a Bookends. That is the name of the book discussion group. Uh-huh. And this is our one adult program that is regular. and they come up with a list of books, and they meet. Maybe, Karen, you could talk about the group a little bit.
Sure. We meet on the first Thursday of the month, and there's a list of books that are coming up in the next few months that's available at the library. One person acts as a group discussion leader, and that's purely voluntary. And if you'd like to read the book and just come to the meeting and talk about it, it's very casual, and there can be anywhere from 6 to 15 people I've seen at the meeting. So it's not overwhelming, but it's a lot of fun, and get different people's opinions about the books. And it's kind of a nice time to come together and meet some new people, make some new friends.
What kind of books do you discuss? Could you give us an example of, I know that's hard to do right on the spot, but could you just give us an example of?
Well, we've had quite a variety. Probably the most popular that we've read recently is a civil action. So we do hit on nonfiction, and that was the Woburn Water case. That was really interesting, generated quite a discussion. And then we do fiction as well. This month we're reading The Orchard by Adele Crockett Robertson, I believe, and that's nonfiction. It's a memoir of a woman who's trying to save her orchard. So there's a wide variety of books we've read. A mystery suspense thriller called The Alienist. We've read a book about a man trying to bring up his 4-year-old child last month called Dance Real Slow. So there's quite a variety, and I think it's exposing us all to new books, which is a lot of fun for us. And
this is not just a women's group?
No, it's not a women's group, although it's harder to get men to come along. But last month a man did come, and they're more than welcome. It'll be interesting to see the point of view and to hear the input from that side.
It's nice to have a man's point of view and
Absolutely.
a female's point of view, because
Yes.
they sometimes look at things very differently, and you don't always look at their side of it until they discuss it.
That's right.
Well, the thing is, after you read a book, too, though, you do want to say to somebody, what did you think? You know, what's going on? So I would think that would really be fun to, I'm actually involved in a group similar to that from my school, and it is wonderful. It adds a whole nother layer of ideas that you never had yourself,
Right.
you know? It is exciting.
And anyone's welcome at any time, and even if they want to just come, if they haven't read, to see how the group, the dynamics of the group, if they feel comfortable. So I really encourage people to try it out. I think, you find it surprisingly fun.
Right. And what's the book for September?
The Orchard.
The Orchard?
And we have copies at the library. We borrow them from other libraries in our consortium.
Oh.
And so they could pick them up. They don't have to go out and rent out to find it at another library. We'll get multiple copies every month of the book that's on the list.
So that's the first Thursday in September.
First Thursday in September. The meeting is 7 o'clock until 8:30, and it's in the library.
Now,
Oh,
who chooses the book?
We choose by committee. At one of our discussion group meetings, people will throw out possibilities, and then Tina will kind of review the list to see what's available and what she can get a hold of for us, and maybe what she's heard would be a good discussion book, because she has that information.
Is there anything about the Friends that we haven't brought up, or about the library that you'd like to mention? Especially your annual meeting, I think you wanted to tell people who could come and who could end up voting.
Anybody is more than welcome to come. If you're interested in the Friends or being involved, then I would encourage you to come. If you do, you may sign up to be a member at that meeting. If you are a member, then you can vote, and the voting will be for the officers and to pass the bylaws, and very little technical business. And then we'll have a lot of fun at the meeting after that. So I encourage anybody to come.
Excellent. Would you like to mention some other services that the library has available for the public? I love the idea of the Friends supporting authors coming in to speak, or different demonstrations, especially with so many people working. Evening programs for a short period of time would be lovely.
Yes.
I think you'd get a lot of support for that.
I think so too, and this is an area we're working on. We still, just to review our basic services, I'll try to list some of them off the top of my head. We have the museum passes, which people can call and reserve. The Museum of Science, Museum of Fine Arts, the Children's Museum, Isabella Stewart Gardner, and in the fall we usually have the aquarium. These are funded usually by Community Fund, and the PACs and the Arts Council have been helpful in funding those. So that's a very popular service. And as we talked about earlier, the preschool programs, You know, and also we have, of course, people can put books on reserve. Know that there's the bestseller. Sometimes that's the only way you're going to get a hot book is to put your name on it. And we notify people when it's available. So I think that's a really nice service that you know you're going to get the book eventually.
Right.
And we have multiple copies, so you don't have to wait too long. And we also are open to suggestions for ideas and for purchasing books. We have the video collection now. It's a small collection, but it's expanding slowly. And we have compact discs, and that's also a new service, was only about a year old. And we keep trying to add more things and keep the library up to date in this collection, and not only its services, but you know, in the collection itself, which is really, you know, the heart of the library still, I think, is information and books. And we do have an internet connection. Right now it's only text connection, but we will be looking into adding a graphic connection in probably late fall. And so, and adding more PCs on the floor with more electronic resources is part of we got funded for in this fiscal year. So we're moving ahead all the time. It's a kind of an exciting time for the library. And one thing I wanted to add about the importance of a Friends group is that they're really advocates for the library. I think when I said they support the library, they really do promote it in the community. And I think that's really important to have a group of people that really speak for the library when it's budget time or when you're the downturn in the economy, that know that there is a group in town that the library is important service to the town. And so they are advocates, even at the state level, for when some of our funding is dependent on state grant money, that they will you know, write letters to the legislature at state and federal level. So they really are very important to a library locally and to libraries on the statewide and national level.
Excellent.
We'd like to thank both of you for coming, and just a reminder that the annual members meeting is September 25th at 7 o'clock.
That's right.
At the Wilmington Library. So please join and come and have a good time.
And read books.
And read books.
Yes. Join bookends.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.